So, you know what I find interesting? What I find interesting is that you're very right to say that it was actually called the Republic Federal of Cameroon. We've read about that time without number. There are articles that actually confirm this. Now, is this being actually taken seriously by the so-called international bodies? In my intro, I spoke about the League of Nations that seemed to have been offering support for Ethiopia, but Ethiopia was left to hang. And I think it's more or less similar like what you're explaining. The United Nations, has it taken any firm stance?
No, they will not be here. Our forefathers were ignored because it was more about the interest, whatever the interest was. And the interest wasn't about our own survival as a people, our rights. We don't hear about human rights. Our right to self-determination, what did not matter. The fact that we are a self-governing people from 1953 to 1961, we were governed by our own leaders, elected leaders. We had a vibrant democracy. In fact, better than many countries have today, we had in the 50s. In the 1954, we elected our first premier or House of Assembly, and the House of Assembly produced a premier. We had a premier, a prime minister. And by four years after that, we had another general election. And the opposition won and succeeded the government, the ruling party. And there was a smooth transition, no bullets. That is 1958. Then by 1961, we found ourselves forced by the international system to accept to be independent by joining. Just even linguistically, you see the nonsense. How do you become independent by joining? So that was the conspiracy that brought us into this place.
But that actually sounds like these are crimes against humanity. So then, who will be held responsible for such crimes of, you know, dissolving a country that was recognized and then nobody says anything? What does the stance of the United Nations actually mean to you? I'm asking because I'm thinking they actually recognized you as a nation before. They are the same ones that are still not giving you a clear stance of their support or their non-support, whatever you might call it. So what does this say to you, Mr. President?
We are really, we don't know. We are disappointed because of the of the double standard of the international community. And I think that the international world order, the post-Second World War order, supposed to have done better. And if it is, we are where we are today in Africa is because of the failure of that order. Can you imagine that Britain was appointed by the United Nations to be the trust administrator over our country? They were supposed to prepare means help transition us into self-government or independent. We had already achieved self-government, or we were already self-governing by 1954. So by 1961, the logical thing to have been done was just to present our credentials to the United Nations for membership. Everything was in place. Our borders defined everything. Instead, they decided it was a deal between Paris and London. We were not. Our interest was not important. Our desire was not consulted. They quickly concluded that it is better these people we just give them a chance to join Nigeria or Cameroon and be independent by joining. So today the problem is the silence of those who were given the responsibility. If you give somebody a job and the person failed in the job, who should hold him responsible? The United Nations should have at least the authority to call back those they commissioned to carry out an assignment to answer for the way they executed that assignment. And if there be mistakes, the umpire should be able to look into the problem and calling the administrator to question and find out exactly what the problem is, instead of allowing us to be annihilated for being the best example of what democracy should have been, political action. That's what brought us to this place, because we are civil, because we are civilized, and we decided to do things in a civilized manner. But today, we are the ones who have been abandoned to be annihilated as the answer to that will bring normalcy. Why is the Britain not in this equation? Why is the United Nations? Why cannot not be called to answer? Because as far as I'm concerned, the United Nations is an international public service owned by the powers that be in the Security Council. So nobody can call them to question. They don't have what it takes to call Britain to question. If they had it, then that would be the beginning of the solution. Britain should come and answer. How did you decolonize these people? Where is the Treaty of Union that was signed by the Christians?